We're going to make a keychain out of plastic canvas today in cross stitching. It's going to look like this, and I'm going to take you step by step on how to do that. You're going to start with a rectangular canvas grid that I've already cut out. You do need to cut the little notches in it because you'll cross stitch it and then you'll fold it over. So to do that, just take the model that I have and trace and cut out, and then carefully cut the canvas. So once you've cut your little notches out, you just want to make sure that you can fold it over and that they measure up perfectly. Okay? Then you're going to need a keychain, key ring, and one of the large plastic canvas needles. Again, these are expensive. I've purchased a lot for my classes so that you all can use the same one over and over again. So these need to be returned to me when you're finished with your project. So take your yarn about the length of your arm span, fold it over into a little pinch, and feed it through the eye of the needle. You're going to keep one short tail of yarn and the other tail long. We're going to start down here in the bottom right hand corner. Hold it vertically and come to the bottom right hand corner. Go over one square hole to the left. So the second one in. Bring your needle from the back side of the canvas. Bring it through. Pull your yarn all the way until you have about a 1-inch tail on the back side. And just hold it with your left hand. And then you're going to bring your needle from the front to the back this time. You're going to go up one square and over to the right one, diagonally. You're going to always make a diagonal stitch going to the right. Then you're going to bring it back down to the bottom row, one over to the left, pull it through from the back side, and diagonally up and to the right. And you're just going to keep doing this. Now I'm showing you the easy way. It's not the exact technical way, but until you all get this down, we're just going to do this project the easy way. And it's okay. It will pretty much look the same from the front. The back doesn't quite look as perfect as some cross stitchers would like, but this is the easiest way for students to learn. Now you'll notice I've made one row, and I didn't knot my yarn. In the tail, I just stitched right over top of it. The tail was just back here, and I just stitched over top of it. So after you've completed one row, you're ready to make your second row. So you're going to come up just to the next row. Come in from the back, pull it through, and just go diagonally up and over to the right. Now I want you to look carefully here, because for the next stitch I have to come in to a hole that the yarn has already gone through from the previous row. So come in down there. A lot of times people want to come in a completely empty hole. And if you do that, then your stitch is going to be way up here. We want to stitch over this next little row. So come in right there, bring it through. And if you go on the wrong row, that's okay. We can fix it. Don't panic. Everything can be fixed. Come in to the hole way down here. The stitch has already gone through. Come in from the back, and then go back through from the front. And you are just going to keep doing this until you've done the entire grid. Now I've completed the first 2 rows. So for the 3rd row, it's kind of like the very beginning. You're going to come into this hole right here, come in from the back, and diagonally up and to the right. And I'm just going to keep going. And from this point, I think you can see it's very simple to just keep that pattern going, and you do the entire thing. Now when you get to this point, after you've completed your bottom rectangle, you're going to say, now where do I go? Because it's niched out. It's very simple. This would become your next row right here. So you're just going to come to this hole right here, and you're just going to continue going. And it'll go over a little stitch like that in the back. And you're just going to move diagonally to the right. And yes, you will have a hole there, but we'll fill it in when we come back over. And just continue going up the row. And we are going to run out of thread here soon, and I'll show you at that point what we do as well. And just see, there's my empty hole right there. And you just keep going right up the row. Alright, so now you can see I don't have much yarn left. That's not a big deal at all, okay? I'm just going to come to the back, flip it over to the back, and run it through a couple stitches. Just run it under the stitches, pull the needle off, and clip. It's tied under. I'm going to get my new thing of yarn, start over from the beginning, pinch it, thread it, short tail, long tail, and keep going, and then just go all the way up. Alright, so I have filled in the whole thing. I'm going to flip it over to the back and tie off my yarn by sending it under a few stitches. Sometimes it's a little difficult. Just going to send it right under a row of stitches, pull it through, and cut. Alright, so this is the front, this is the back. Now at this point I want to put the keychain on. So I'm going to bend it, slip the keychain on. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it together, and I'm going to do the whip stitch around the entire outside. And then I'll hold it together and complete it. I like to use a different color yarn. You can do whatever you want. So get out a piece again, about as long as your arm span. I'm going to do pink. Thread your needle, and the whip stitch is a little bit different. I'm just going to start, I'll start down here in this corner. It doesn't really matter where you start, but I'll start down here. Just come in, you're going to always come in from the back on this stitch. You have, leave yourself a little tail, and you're going to stitch around it. Always just keep coming in from the back, and you're going to come back into the same hole. And you just whip around, and you're connecting both pieces together, and you want to make sure that it's lined up properly. Sometimes it can be a little tight. And just stitch right over top of your tail. You might want to sometimes go through the same hole twice so that it makes a nice good thick edge, but it kind of depends on how thick your yarn is. So I'm just going to keep on going all the way around. Now when you've stitched up to the turn here, now you're just going to go around. You're not going to tie them together. You're just going to go around each edge, a single piece of plastic. Okay? I'm just going around one because I want my key ring to be loose in there. And you just have to move the key ring out of the way and keep working your way around. And you're going to get to a point where you need to move the key ring. It's going to be in your way. So I'm going to come through the key ring and move the key ring out of my way. And come right on around here. Alright, so see, I kept it open. I didn't sew the two sides together. But now I need to get back over here. So I'm just going to send the yarn, the needle, through the hole. And then I'm going to start here and go up and around individually, and then I'll hook these two together. So I'm just going to start doing the whip stitch right here and just go around, but I'm not hooking the two pieces of plastic together. Now when I've gone around individually, I'm going to start hooking the two pieces back together, and I'm going to whip all the way around. And I've gone all the way back around to where I started. And that's why I started down here instead of up here, because it just gets tight up here to begin with. So now what do I do with the last bit of thread? I'm going to feed it under the row of pink stitches, at least a little bit. It can be a little tight. And I'm going to clip it as close as I can, and keychain to put your house key on.